You realize after you hear him speak that he is a very special person. And he's not only special because he's the largest producer in Excel, but he's got that warmth and personality that lets you know how he did it. And Meg and I have made a pact that what we really want to do is we just want to keep Paul Orberson in sight. If we can keep him in sight, we know that we're doing something right because we don't even have the hopes of we're catching him. I want you to stand and welcome our leader, the biggest producer we have, Paul Orberson.
I've already did you. Thank you. Get sit down. You don't have to do that. There's no sense in doing that. Matter of fact, when I first started teaching school, it is a true story. I had a study hall bigger than this of 8th graders. And you should have seen me trying to get a word in edgeways. By the end of the year, I was just telling them, stay in your seats, do anything you want to do. You can do anything to stay in your seats. And I had to look forward to that every morning at 8 o'clock. And some of you, how many people in here teach school? Okay, if you got, I don't know this, but I had 27-year retirement in Kentucky. I don't know what yours is here, but my retirement was 27 years. And when I quit to do Excel full time, you know what my mother told me? You only got 14 more years till you can retire. Because I taught 13 years. So you can't expect ever. Now my mother, who said this would never work, guess what? She works with me full time. It's kind of neat. Now I was talking, we don't need to be telling about what we've done for our parents, or maybe I do, or maybe I don't need to get into that, but Al started it, so I'm going to say it too, but it's kind of neat. She, about a year and a half ago, I was able to give them a new Cadillac. And my mother just couldn't believe it, pulled it up out in their driveway, and they said, oh, honey, my mom and dad still today would never ask me for a penny. They're they would not ask me for one penny. And I would tell you that every minute, every hour I've been out would be worth it if I couldn't ever do anything else but have that 15 or 20 or 30 minutes. When I took that car up to them, I told them it was mine. I said, I want you to look at this new car I got. And boy, they're so proud. We're proud of you, boy. And I said, hey, it's yours. And gave them the keys. And I just sat there, and I'll probably cry on you a couple times tonight. But I sat there and I just cried like a baby. And she cried like a baby. And my daddy, who's a Baptist preacher, Southern Baptist preacher, and it feels good to be in this part of the country. You know, it feels good. It feels good to be where I really don't need an interpreter. You know, I say this a lot, but I went north to Minneapolis about 3 months ago, 2.5 months ago, and I was doing a meeting. It was smaller than this. There was about 400 people, and a person on the back row stood up and said, could we have an interpreter for you? So it's good to be where people will understand me a little bit, hopefully, and maybe get a few ideas. Maybe you won't like none of my ideas. That's okay, too. But I started out 44 months ago. And when I started, my goal in Excel was not to make $5,000 a month, or 10, or 20, or 100, or 150, or anything like that. My goal was to make $1,000 a month, because that would mean I could pay for my house payment and my truck payment. Now, my truck payment was $189.05, and my house payment was $695.80. And you know, people that don't make any money can tell you every payment they got to the penny. Matter of fact, people don't make any money can tell you what their electric bill was last month. $121.70. Or whatever it was. And I used to, when my electric bill got over $100, I would go nuts. I'd go to cutting, well, I can't lie to you. I'd go to buying firewood. And we'd put firewood stove and that kind of thing to keep the bill down. So we all go through that when we start. So I tell you to look at Excel as a part-time, maybe full-time opportunity at some point. But look at it as $500 a month deal. Because that's when you start out. You can't start out like the other people, Jay and Meg and Al have already said. You can't start out thinking, I'm going to make $100,000 a month and I'm going to do it 2 months from now. Because that most likely will not happen. It takes a lot of work, and I quit my job after 6 months to do this full time. When I quit my job to do this full time, I was excited. Now, a lot of you have told me at the break that you're excited, so excited that maybe you don't sleep at night sometimes. I don't know if anybody's gone through that, but I did. Well, let me tell you why you don't. It's after 13 years of teaching school, I had been sleepwalking for about 12 of those 13. I mean, I was asleep. Like Al said, I could have done it backwards. Well, I got woke up when I heard about this. I was awakened. And you know something? After you've been asleep for 12 or 13 years, you don't need to sleep for a long time. So what it is we've been sleepwalking at what we're doing. And now you get woken up and you're a little bit excited about something. You really don't know what. Because when I was asked to go to that first meeting by a man, my assistant superintendent, where I taught school, he said, come over to this little meeting. Well, folks, I'm one of these people. I'm too cool to do something like this. I mean, I don't have to do nothing like this because I got a master's degree. I do. I ain't. Somebody said, so what? Well, and my degree, I got a history degree too. And I'm certified to teach driver's education too. So I've really got a big background in business and taught driver's ed for a year, and I was a homebound teacher for 2 years and just about did it all in the school system. But when I was asked to go take a look at this thing, I tried to find a way out of it, so I got to the meeting late on purpose, and darned if they didn't start that meeting late. So that I actually got there on time. Signed up as one of those area coordinator things, and Russ Nolan did that meeting, but signed up as one of those area coordinator things, went home, got excited, was excited on the way home, got 7 customers. You go to get customers. I went to get my mom as a customer. My mom said, what is this? And I said, sign the form. And she said, what is this? And I said, Mom, sign the form. She said, what am I signing? I said, Mommy, it don't cost nothing, just sign it. She said, well, I don't sign nothing that I don't read. I said, great. And I pulled out another form, and I read her a form as she signed it. And I had my first customer. It took me 3 weeks. Some might be able to relate to this. It took me 3 weeks to get my first MR. 21 days in this program, I got my first MR. And it was one poor old soul, really, honestly, that I had just said, look, Phil, I'll do anything. I need to get somebody started in this business. And he looked at me and he said, how much have you made? And you know what I told him? And I've said this a whole lot about the first few months. I said, Phil, you wouldn't believe it if I told you. He said, doing that good, huh? I said, yep. And I wasn't lying, because he wouldn't have believed it. I'd been working 4, 5 nights a week, and I hadn't even been paid. I'm glad he didn't ask for any copies of any checks. I love those people. They want to see copies of checks. Like, let me see, and that ain't real till I see it. Well, you know something? You don't need those people. Just don't worry about those kind of people. And I've got a brother story I've got to change on you tonight. I've got an Uncle Pete story I've got to change tonight, because some crazy things have happened in my family since I started this business. I talk about breaking out of prison a whole lot. For a lot of us, our jobs are our prison. And my job, 8 to 3. You know, in our small towns, we go to our little trucks or our little cars and we pass the same people on the way to work every day. We wave. We pass the same people on the way home every day. Folks, I was so sick of that, I couldn't stand it. I was eat up with being sick of that. Well, that's partly why I decided to get an Excel. I wanted to make $1,000 a month and get out of that rat race someday if I could. But the prison for me was my job. You know, every Sunday night I got sick to my stomach because tomorrow was Monday. But you know, there's more heart attacks on Monday. Did anybody read USA Today? 33% more heart attacks on Monday than any other day of the week. And I happen to believe it has something to do with going back to work. And even the study went on to say that. My prison was my job. Now, every Wednesday, what do? We say, thank God, half that mess is over, the work week. And then you know what our favorite night is? Thursday. Thursday night. Because tomorrow's Friday. Actually, you'd think it would be Friday, but it's not. It's Thursday night. The Americans never want to. Thursday night is the favorite night because they know tomorrow's Friday. And then you know what you get to do again? Sunday night we start getting sick all over again. Now I'm 33 years old doing that, and I'm thinking there ain't no way out of this thing, and I get asked to see Russ, and I immediately sign up. This is not $1 million decision. I love those people. Guy last night came up to me down in Orlando, and he said, "You proved to me that this works." I said, "What do you do?" He said, "I'm a school teacher." I said, "How long have you been teaching school?" He said, 4 years. I said, "How many more years till you can retire?" He said, 26 more years I can retire. And he's asking me to prove something works? I said, "You're looking dead flat in the face, dead straight at it at 26 more years of being broke if you don't do something." That don't have to be this, but go do something. I'm not going to convince him or you or anybody else to do anything. If that doesn't bother a person a little bit, there's nothing I can say or nothing you can say to help them. So just kind of leave them alone. But anyway, he said, "Well, I got to tell you, I'm signing up as an area coordinator tonight." And that was, I think, $590. So he said, "I'm going to do that because I just took a couple of graduate courses last summer that cost me more than that." I did the same thing. I took graduate courses, paying $200 and $300 for 3-hour courses, knowing I'd never have a chance to make $100,000 a year, or 200 or 300 or 500 or $1 million. I knew it when I did it, and I was sober. And I still signed up to do that. You know why? Because that's normal. And that's most of what I talk about is most of us come from normal people with normal backgrounds. Normal will get you nowhere and it'll get me nowhere. On the money side, 1% of the people in this country make $120,000 a year. 1%. If you make that, you know what I'm talking about. If you don't, believe me, $120,000 a year, you're broke. I mean, that's dead, flat, honest to goodness broke. But only 1% of the people in this country do that. So normal, it would suggest is something well, I love the people too. You know what they come back and say, and I know they've said it to you. "Yeah, but money ain't everything." Know what they say? Money ain't everything. Well, you know something? That's really right, and I can prove it. The people with $10 million are really no happier than the people with $9 million. That's the truth. Maybe money's not everything, but it sends kids to school. It builds churches too. It pays for education too. You know, most of us in the South, and I know Kentucky, we're kind of in between, but we still think South. Most of us think there's some kind of holiness in being broke. Like if we're broke on earth, we're going to go to a higher place in heaven. Yeah, that's right. We're going to go to a higher place because we walked around, we broke our whole life. There's nowhere, that's not true. Because you can do more good and help more people. If the right people in this country had the money in their hands, there'd be more good done in this country. But the people with the money want people like me and you to stay right where we are. That's what they want. I'm not going to preach. Sorry. But that's exactly what those people want us thinking. They don't want the son of a Baptist preacher and school teacher thinking he can do anything. They want me right where I was. And they want you right where you are too. The price you will pay for success in this business or any business is nothing compared to the reward. It's nothing. If you're financially independent, you know what I'm talking about. If you're not, it's like talking Greek to you. Believe me, financial independence is worth any price. Legally and morally, it's worth any price you could pay. So that argument don't work. I love those people too. I wouldn't miss my family for nothing. Well, you're going to do it in the next 20 or 30 or 40 years. Wouldn't you rather go do it in 2 or 3? I would. And that's all that's happened with me and the rest of these people. I've condensed down 40 years of work, and I condensed it down into about 2 years. It only makes sense for that 2 years you're going to be busy, to not have to do a blasted thing the rest of your life. I mean, that's fun. It's fun not getting... most of us at jobs, you know what we do? We get up at the same time every day without an alarm clock. We brush our teeth at the same time on Good Morning America, same segment. We know we need to be leaving the house at about the same time because we know if that weather thing, or we've got it timed out, we know we got to be walking out the door at that segment. Little robots. Having fun, ain't we? Huh? We're having a lot of fun. A lot of fun out there. I mean, who wants to live like that? But if you don't know another side, and you don't know another way, you don't know any different. You're like a dime that's lost and don't know it's lost. You just don't know another way. And this showed me a way that I could go do something, and maybe go do something to be financially independent. Rejection. That's something I had to get over. Rejection, the best definition I ever saw on it, rejection is wounded self-love. Most of us love ourselves so much, we can't imagine somebody not liking doing the same things we do. And so when they say, no, I don't like that, or I don't want to do that, we just get all torn up and cry. I can't repeat Al's cry, but we cry like that. Oh gosh, Aunt Susie didn't. We love ourselves so much, we can't believe they don't like what we like. You know something, what I say around the country? Don't like yourself so much. Don't love yourself. It ain't no big deal. In Kentucky, I tell it all the time, there are more people than there are deer. And we hunt deer and kill them on purpose in Kentucky. There's more people out there than you can count. You can never run out of people. Don't you let one person tell you you can't be successful. Don't you let 5 people tell you you can't be successful. Because those people don't care about you. I mean, where are all those people going to be in 2 or 3 years? You know what they're going to be doing? I went back to my school. I know you've done the same thing. 61 teachers in my school. You know how many became customers? 1. 1 person became a customer. When you go back to your prison, don't you expect the rest of the prisoners to be excited that you're trying to break out. The fact of it is, they're going to shoot you square in the back. That's right. That's people. That's the nature of people. And you ain't going to change that, and I'm not going to either. I can say ain't here. I like that. I don't even have to watch what I'm saying here. It's kind of fun to talk to people like in my home state. But don't worry about those people. Just move on. People say, I've gone to everybody at my work, you know, and boy, I just don't. That's just not. Just keep moving. Keep moving. It took me 3 weeks to get my first MR, and I say this, but in the last 60 days, there's been into the tens of thousands of people come in my ED code, and I didn't bring a one of them in. Not a one of them. And matter of fact, I was looking at cutting back from 5 days a week to 4 days a week, and my income went up. Now, I'm seriously thinking about cutting back to... No, I shouldn't say that. I'm not. But for the point of the story, I had said earlier, I'm thinking about just quitting. I think I could really take off then. My business would really explode. That's the way this works. You work for a while, get a few people started. That's what it's all about. It's just getting started and getting going. So don't let rejection bother you. It's not that big a deal. I love these people too. I don't think I won't do that. You know, the issue is not really that you or I want to do this, is it? Excel's a great company and a great company to work with. But the issue is not really that we want to do this, is it? That's not the issue. I can't wait to go be in the long distance business. Isn't that exciting? Oh man, I can't wait. I can get up. I think long distance all the time. I mean, folks, on a good day, I can't even spell telecommunications. Who cares? Who cares? That's not what this is about. You know, people say, well, now, he don't look too smart. He don't really dress that good. Who cares? Al talked about his customers. I've got 29 personal customers is all I've got. I've brought 30 MRs in this business. That's all. 3 of those 30 have worked it hard. But from those 3 have come tens and tens and tens of thousands of representatives. That's the deal. That's what Excel asked me to do. They didn't ask me, and I'm not condemning Al, but they didn't ask me, and most of us aren't going to do what Al did. I probably couldn't do that. But Excel doesn't ask me to do that. Excel asked me to go get a few customers and a few people started. That's all it asked me to do. It don't ask me to be a brain surgeon or a rocket scientist, thank God. I can't do that. But I can do this. And that's all it takes, just getting started with just a few people and a few customers. So don't worry. And then the issue is not really that I want to keep going like I'm going. We've had a hectic week this week. We started in Lexington. We went to Nashville. We've been to Orlando, here, and then New York City from here. Well, I'd probably rather be playing golf sometime. And there's going to be a day when I'm going to do it. The issue is not that I'll just gung-ho about long distance. It's a matter of paying a price for a period of 2 or 3 or 4 years, and then you're through. That's it. And I'm afraid right now to stop. I'm scared to death there'll not be another Excel. I really am. And I mean that with all my heart. I'm afraid to stop right now because I'm afraid this is my once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. Jay told me the other day, you may have 2 chances in your life to make a lot of money. And I may have already missed my first one. I don't know. Maybe I have, maybe I haven't. But this is the second one if I did, and I ain't blowing this one. I'm not going to blow this one right here. Guarantee you. Develop a so what attitude. And I think Al was talking along those lines, and Meg and Russell talked about that later, and Jay too. But develop a so what attitude. I love those people. I got an MRN, and he went out and got 3 customers, and I never heard no more from him. So what? I went out and I got an MR, and he went out. He didn't even bother to go to training. So what? Who cares? So what? People are people are people. People in South Carolina are the people the same as North Carolina, the people same as Kentucky. Guy in Louisiana one day said, what do you do up there? People in Louisiana are different. People in Huntington, West Virginia tell me West Virginia people are different up here. They're a little cautious. Hey, folks, people are people are people. That's the way we are by the very nature of us. We're normal. Most of us are normal, and people are people. So just work through it. Don't get that feeling of rejection. It's not that big a deal. Take it lighthearted. Don't worry about it. You don't need any one person to do this business. And I'm going to talk a little bit more later as I close up here in just a second. I love this too. Think about it. Here's how normal people think, don't we? What's the number one thing when I go to work for somebody? You know what people ask me around the country in different parts? You know what the first thing they say is? Does XL give you health insurance? Ain't that the way we think, normal people think? And you know what I have to answer them? No. Excel gives me no health insurance. My health insurance for my family costs $319 a month, and I pay it. Okay? You know what the second thing people want to know? Normal people want to know? What kind of retirement you got? Folks, if you make enough money and invest it, do anything with it, you don't need no retirement. You invest your money, you got your retirement. Retirement is the little guy's second stand. But you know what the little guy's third stand is? And last stand? And I get asked this too, believe it or not. There are people out there that ask me, how many sick days you got? Honest to God. How many sick days do you have? Well, I've kind of created a little different deal here. In Excel, we don't have sick days. You see, if I died today, I'm going to get well, I won't, but my family will get a paycheck next month, and next month, and next month, and there's a good chance it's going to be a pretty big paycheck. Several paychecks, as a matter of fact, every month. And they're going to be more than just a little bit big compared to most people. You know something? So we got a new term in Excel. We don't have sick days. We got dead days. That's right. You can die in Excel, and you still get paid. That's true. You can't even die and leave Excel. That's right. I want to talk for a second, and I'm closing up about financial independence. And financial independence, and I just said something real quick earlier, financial independence is worth the fight. If that's your goal, it's worth it. You know, when I started out, I never dreamed of being, my goal at one point was to be financially independent by the age of 50, where nobody could tell me what time to get up, nobody could tell me what to do, where I had to be. I wanted to be out of prison so bad that I couldn't stand it. And that was my goal, my second goal. After I started making a little money, I kind of readjusted my goals and said, wouldn't it be neat to be financially independent? Now, financial independence to a lot of people is different things. That may be $10,000 a month to you, or $20 or $50, or it may be $5,000 a month. That's something that's personal. But I'm going to tell you something. Once you achieve it, you look back. I mean, do you think if I knew what was going to happen in Excel, if I'd have known it at the time when I signed up in 1990, do you think if I could do that all over again, that I'd go back and sign up all over again if I knew how good it'd be to be financially independent? I'd go back up and sign up 1,000 times all over again. Because it's that good. It's that good not to wake up at the same time on any 2 days or any 3 days. It really is that good. I'm going to close with the story because we have a lot of people like this in my state. I'm going to leave names out of this, but in my hometown, there's a guy that works at a bank. And boy, his parents in my hometown, boy, they're somebody. And he's got his position because his parents. That's just that simple. And he probably makes 35 or 40 or 50, I don't know what he makes. But when I started this business, I thought it was a lot. And I thought I wanted this guy in my business. I did so bad. And I went through this program with him. I mean, this is one of those guys, that knot in that tie is so little. I mean, hey, look, the cuffs on this guy, everything looks good. Oh, it's perfect. He walks, you just know he's successful. I needed him. So I go in and I show him this Excel program, and I get through it in about 30 minutes, and he says to me at the very end, "You got any financials on this company?" And I said, "No, I don't, because then and now, this is a privately held company, and no financials on the company are released." And I walked away knowing I didn't have, and he said, "Well, I just don't think so. I've got to have something to see." You know, those kind of people. Well, I walked out, and I was a sad little boy. Several months ago, I walked into the same bank, and this guy is sitting over at his chair with his feet propped up on his desk. It's about 10 o'clock in the morning. He's reading the Wall Street Journal. Ain't that what they do? Those people look good. Reading the Wall Street Journal. See, folks, the world is full of talented, good-looking, well-educated, broke people. Couldn't write you a check for $5 or $10 or $50 or $100,000 if their life depended on it. But look good. They look good. Don't take that away from them. I go in that bank. He's sitting over with his feet propped up, and I thought, I'm going to have me some fun today. So I go over to him, and I called him by first name, and I looked at him, and I won't call him, but I called his name, and I said, "How you doing?" He said, "Pretty good. How you doing?" I said, "Well, I got to talk to you about something." He said, "What's that?" I said, "I got to talk to you because I got a problem. And the problem is that I got $96,000 in this one account here. And I'm getting ready to deposit more than that again in the account today. And I understand, and I still got 2 more paychecks coming this week, and I understand, I had to say that too, but I understand that the FDIC only insures money for up to $100,000. He said, "That's right." I said, "Well, I'm going to tell you something. Before I put that money in this bank, I want to see some financials on this bank." And he really happened. And he looked at me and he said, "You get out of here." Now, you know what your first reaction is to that? I'll bet he's sorry he didn't do this business. Now no. Hey, he still looks good. He got the perfect tithe. He looks just as good as he did 3.5 years ago. And his mom and daddy are still somebody. It don't matter. Nobody cares about your future like me or like you. That's it. That's the bottom line. If you want to go work for somebody else the rest of your life, have at it. Because you will pay a price. You will pay it over time, or you can pay it in 2 or 3 years. You will not escape the price. You're going to pay it. So you don't gain anything by not doing this or not doing something else to make a lot of money. You're going to pay the price. That's the whole deal. To catch up real quick, my brother, who wouldn't look at this business, has a degree and all that stuff in business and been in business and all this stuff and thought this was a Mickey Mouse deal and all that kind of stuff. Guess who has quit his job and gone full-time in Excel? Unbelievable. Quit his job 4 weeks ago and is already SMR'd and working on RD, and May this second have that. And I'm so proud of him. He finally, and you know what, I didn't even talk to him about it anymore after about 2 years ago. And finally he came out and he signed up under my mom. He signed up under my mom, said, "I'm quitting my job," quit his job the next Monday, and now he's working. And I'm so proud of that because he can do something for his wife and his 2 children. I'm so proud of that. Excel's a great opportunity, a well-run company, and I would encourage you to take a serious look at this business and make a commitment to it, whether it's $100 a month or $100,000 a month that you want. Thank you. You've been a lot of fun. I appreciate it.